Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Vignette from 21 Pilots and their 2024 album Clancy. I'm musically malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics, the meaning, and the lore to the best of my ability. Really rely on you guys to help steer through some of that as well. But let's go ahead, get in, take a look at this song. Okay, Vignette. Sixth track from 21 Pilots' 2024 album Clancy. The lyrics speak of addiction, with common excuses and traits among addicts being depicted. During the Clancy music video premiere live stream, Tyler spoke about Vignette. Always happy to hear him speak about a song. There's a few interpretations of it. I think for me, it makes the most sense when I look at it from the perspective of addiction and what that can feel like at times. A certain type of season of that, and that's why this song is very special to me. Interesting. Okay, let's get up and into it. Not sure when it started, peeling from his bones, piece it back together all alone. Okay, if we first and foremost view this song, as Tyler said, kind of for him, it feels like addiction. And you could take that into all kinds of addictions. I think our minds, at least my mind, typically goes to like the harder things, especially some of the lyrics that continue to go on would speak to maybe harder drugs, heroin, things like that. But you can tie it into any kind of addiction and what it does to you as a person. It tends to isolate you, tends to consume you, tends to kind of wreck you and wreck everything around you. And so let's see, this idea, not sure when it started, peeling from his bones. This could be kind of a not sure when the addiction started, because I think that that's the thing with addictions, right? It starts as something that you may just try or be interested in, but the whole point is it's addicting. So even take it on something that can be harmless. But I've known men who have ruined their marriages over video game addiction, that they literally, it's like they put off all responsibility, all emotional responsibility as well. They dive into video games, which generally just comes from like probably not being happy in other areas of their lives. And so it's kind of how they medicate in that way. But even something like that, it's like, oh, I'll just play. This will be fun. Oh, this is really fun. Oh, this is like all I want to do. Oh, any chance I can get, I'm going to sneak away and do this thing, play this game. And then it just becomes consuming and can take over in many ways. So that idea of not sure when it started could go from that idea of just, I'm not really sure when this began, or it could still tie into this second line, this peeling from his bones, not sure like when it got to this really bad place. And I think that idea of peeling from his bones is it could be like considered a weight loss thing, because a lot of addicts, right, they lose a lot of weight. But I think it maybe in a deeper way is this like not sure who you are as a person anymore. You are peeling away from your bones. You're becoming a shell of a person. And you could also tie it into the zombies, right? Piece it back together all alone. This idea, I just feel it's like your flesh is peeling away from your bones, but you're the one trying to just, I'll hold it together. I can't talk about this. I got to keep it hidden. I'll fix it. But addictions, it's like an enemy inside the gates, and you don't want to tell anybody else. You're like, I'll handle it. But all along, you're just being destroyed. Hope it held together long enough for he. So you could just, obviously, sometimes these words, the way they're used in songs, he rhymes with agree. So it just makes sense wordplay wise. Hope it held together long enough for he to pitch the greener grasses, hope that she would agree. You could read that as hope it held together. He's hoping it held together long enough for him to pitch the greener grasses and hope she would agree. I find this line a little bit cryptic. Obviously, the idea of greener grasses is that it's going to be better on the other side. It's going to be better somewhere else. I don't know who the she could be. Obviously, I would assume a relationship within the person's life. but I don't fully understand this idea of pitching greener grasses, other than maybe it could be this like, oh, it's going to get better. Like, I'll do better. I'll get over this. I'll stop. I don't know. That doesn't fully track for me. Here, we can see if there's any insight here. Obviously, we know grass is greener on the other side. Cliche phrase means we tend to think things we don't have are better than what we do. Proverbs we know today, American folk song. Concept of Tyler projecting insecurities, confronting them, tends to be an occurring pattern in the band's discography. And then we have obviously some stuff from Blurry Face and Stressed Out. This time suggestive, it refers to his wife Jenna. Tyler clutches tight to his broken parts and he's afraid he might lose her to the greener grass on the other side. Yeah, I don't know about that. And just to confirm with everybody, okay? In the Midwest Indigo, maybe I misspoke. I was not trying to state Tyler is writing about his relationship, because obviously even in the music video having Jenna in it, I'm not at all saying he would put his relationship on blast. There are people that do that. I think Tyler is much more mature than that. And so I was never trying to state he's talking about his relationship, his marriage. I was just saying the lines are congruent with a relationship, and you can write about a song or a relationship, because even here, Tyler could be speaking from some experience with addiction, but I don't think he's ever taken addiction to as far as this is showing. I think he's just putting himself in the mind and maybe experience with friends or things. It's not hard to write a song about somebody in addiction. Now, you might have more insight if you have been in addiction yourself before, but we could all write some song about addiction from what we know about it. And so I do, even with Midwest Indigo, I don't know if I mentioned seasonal depression. I don't think that I did, but that makes so much sense as well. I think you can draw meaning from both sides, but the song tracks with seasonal depression. But even in this, I wouldn't imagine he's talking about Jenna within here. Let me know your thoughts on this. Fresh off a binger in the woods, flesh covered in bites, testing what is real, what is good. Man, it's been a long night. So taken at face value with addiction, obviously a binger, and I don't know if it means literally in the woods. It could just, the woods could be more of a word picture of kind of this wild place. And then this idea of flesh covered in bites tracks with being out in the woods. So if you go spend, a bunch of time out in the woods, you're going to have bug bites on you. So in the same sense, you go to a junkie house or you go to a bar, you could be on a binger in the woods. And when you come out of that, your flesh will be covered in bites, whether that's actual markings from drugs or like, you could say if it was a person with a hangover, maybe that's like a thing considered a bite. Testing what is real, what is good. Man, it's been a long night. Yeah, just trying to reset yourself in reality. Okay, it's a tribute to zombies of which I've become. So this line, this I've become, because it doesn't seem like, see here, we're not necessarily singing in first person a lot in this song. He's telling a story of a person. So it's interesting, this of which I've become, unless he's kind of switching it up there and it's this person. The he within the song is also the he of I've. And so when you're thinking about addiction, obviously the idea of kind of becoming a shell of yourself and tying back to that peeling away from your bones type thing, you become this essentially like the Walking Dead. And not even from the, like, it could just be in the living side of it as well, right? Because again, when you're ruled by addiction, you've kind of lost yourself. You're being led by something primal. But in the same sense, if you take it to like addicts on the street, especially we've seen videos from LA, things like that, fentanyl, where people are literally just like hunched over in the middle of the street. They look like zombies. It's so sad. And so this tribute to zombies, of which the person has become, and wondering where they go from there. Clinging to promises, fighting off the vignette, tunnels cave, visions fade, swallowed by the vignette. This promise is interesting to me. Clinging to promises. And I don't know if that's promises of like things could get better or promises to themselves. If you want to take it down a faith route, we know we have a scripture that tells us that of all the promises God has made, which there are thousands of them throughout scripture, and these aren't promises like, I promise you'll marry this person. Like you could have a feeling about things like that, but within scripture, the promises of God are things that he has said, such as like, I'll take care of you. And so there are so many different promises. James says, if you lack wisdom, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and he's faithful to give it. So if you're in a place that you're like, I feel lost, I don't know what I'm doing, God, I need your wisdom, please give me your wisdom. He's saying like he's faithful to give it when you ask for it, when you humble yourself and you open yourself up. That is a promise of God. And the scriptures tell us that all the promises he's made are yes and amen through Christ. So they become realized when you are a follower of Christ. Then the promises become yes to you. And so you could put it in that side that honestly, as people of God, you are clinging to these promises. God, I know you're faithful. I know that you'll give direction. I know that there's hope. I know that you'll give me strength. And so you could do that in that sense. And with that, those promises, you're fighting off this vignette, this fading out of a person, this closing in also. While tunnels cave, your vision's fading, being swallowed by the vignette. Which it's interesting with a vignette because as a videographer, as a photographer, my first thing, graphic designer, when I think of a vignette, I think of it as, let me see. This is what I think of it as. See the fading out around the edges? This kind of closing in of the black. That's what I think about of a vignette. You can see it here as well. But a vignette in, let's do it this way. This is also this vignette. See how it kind of fades out to the outside? You just have a picture there that kind of doesn't have this really, I mean, it has a defined edge, but it also is just kind of fading out into the rest of everything else. So the idea with this vignette, I don't know, when I see this vision fading, tunnels cave, swallowed by the vignette, I feel more like it's that, because you can also define in a picture when you're editing it how close the vignette goes in, how faded out it is. I feel like it's speaking more from that, as just feeling like life, you as a person, you're just fading out, you know what I mean? Like it's closing in on you and you're trying to fight it. He's thinking there's no way I'm headed there. Always sure-footed, educated, and was never scared. Again, within addiction, there could be this idea of like, oh, I'm not going to become that person. You know, I got this under control. And I think you see this a lot of times too with like functioning alcoholics. They just don't realize that they're headed there, and we can kind of just understand in our mind what there is just the destruction of you as a person, the destruction of your relationships, that like, oh, you are an alcoholic. You can't live without this. You have to have this constantly, and it's damaging things around you and you don't realize it. Or there, for some addicts could literally be death. It could be homelessness. It could be all your relationships are torn apart and gone. So in that light, it's this idea, there's no way, that's not going to be me, because you were always sure-footed. You were educated. You were never scared. Now he can't hold out his hand without it shaking. Hounded by a bunch, and this could be like a result of drugs. It could also be a fear, because again, you were sure-footed, educated, never scared. Now, like, you can't even hold out your hand without shaking, which is indicative of not only the effects of addiction, but also this like falling away from the person that you were. Hounded by a bunch of dead when the search party found him. Fresh off a binger in the woods. This is interesting. Hounded by a bunch of dead when the search party found him. I'll click on this in a second, see if there's any insight there. Fresh off a binger. So then testimony was, well, man, it's been a long night. Let's see. Now this is pulling in a little bit of lore. Clancy's always been a character with insecurities, with a determination to stand against whatever's in his way. It appears he's afraid to overcome what his next trouble may be. A binger is often a hangout, relaxing time, take a break from things. Binger could also, I think if a binger in the woods, you're probably not just going and hanging out. It's like you've been going, dude. You've been at it. First couple of lines refer to the stigma about addiction, people that are affected by it. I wouldn't ever do drugs. I'm too put together to stoop down to that, which isn't true in the slightest. Addiction isn't a moral failing, and it hurts people. Stereotype white people when we perpetuate that idea. Okay, interesting. Then the verse ends in a moment of irony, basically flashing forward to him in the woods, doing what he thought he would never do. Hounded by a bunch of dead refers to hallucinatory images caused by the drugs. I don't know about that. The May 24th. So this is that note about Tyler saying that to him it speaks about addiction. Okay. I don't know. I didn't really get much from that for this. I mean, other than if it's speaking from a side of like either he's lost and they went to go find him, or he's died from his addictions, like didn't make it out of the woods. No, not me. It's for a friend, which he confirms here in the end. Denial, right? It's not about me. It's for a friend, because I'm sure-footed, educated. I'm never scared. There's no way I'm headed there. Let's see what this says. No, not me. It's for a friend. Is someone pretending like they're recovering when in reality they're still abusing, pretending they're not going to use it when they know they are. Clarification from Tyler, this song is about his relationship with addiction. Well, his relationship or just addiction in general could likely be referring to a common situation addicts go through of hiding the fact it's them who's using. This is usually due to the stigmatization of addiction, mental health issues, a topic the band has spoken on before in songs such as Neon Gravestones. Yeah, honestly, for me, I really haven't heard, at least, you can take some songs toward addiction, but as far as something that really addresses addiction, I feel like it's the first thing from 21 Pilots that like strongly talks about something like that. Now, just for the fun of it, we're going to walk through this document. It's a little bit long, of somebody who is trying to draw some theories specifically for the lore. I'm not saying I 100% agree with this. I haven't even read through it, but I think it would just be fun to kind of see a different take. So we'll start up here. Start with the bird calls that in actuality sound more like a seagull, but is believed to represent the vultures. Not sure when it started, peeling off his bones, piece it back together all alone. Clancy's been trying to learn how to use the seizing power and has just now noticed it has been taking pieces of him when he possesses others. He is left alone trying to figure it out by himself when it started. Has it been happening the whole time, and what that means for him? Hope he held it together long enough for he to pitch the greener grasses and hope she would agree. He seized a body to talk to his love interest and just hopes he was able to convince her he is doing the right thing to make a better life, especially for her. I haven't seen any love interests in the Clancy story. It wouldn't be crazy, especially if he wants to kind of draw some from real life, if he had somebody he really cared about. Testing what is good, what is real. Man, it's been a long night. He's trying to find the right way to use the bishop's power of seizing, but is struggling with the morality of it. He thought he could do the right thing with it, but in it is a dark power, and through possessing several people during a binger in the woods with his flesh covered in bites, he's losing track of his own plot and what he has done himself mixed with the possessed, losing more pieces of himself. It's a tribute to Zombies, of which I become. Clancy is talking about the power of seizing and how he uses the bishop's power to take over the dead. Where do I go from here? He knows he's going to Dima for the confrontation, but doesn't truly know what he is going to do when he gets there. Clinging to promises, fighting off the Vignette. He's trying to keep his promises to bring down Dima, but the literal Vignette you can see hiding in the brush in vignettes and behind Josh in routines is haunting him. That's interesting. I don't really know what he's talking about there. I'm unsure if he's being watched by Nico, but I believe Keon is his father. The legacy of that is haunting him. He's the literal Vignette watching him that he is trying to keep back. I have more on that, but it's a whole other side. Theory, though, I'll stick to just Vignette for this. Tunnels cave, visions fade. Each time he uses the power, he's the one actually becoming more possessed. He's thinking there's no way I'm heading there. Always sure-footed, educated, never scared. Now he can't hold out his hand without shaking. He believes Nico isn't expecting him to really come to Dima. Clancy has been scared off. There's no way he would come face him with how he barely made it out the last time and was traumatized by everything. Hounded by a bunch of dead when the search party found him. The bishops do know he has been using the power, but they know he is not doing well with it. He's struggling with keeping his own identity, and it might as well be taking a piece of him every time he does it. Nothing new through the second chorus. No, it's not me, it's for a friend. He's pushing himself to keep doing it and get better at it for Josh. He wants to get back and keep his promise. This is the only way he can see himself doing it. Denial. The bishop's seizing power is actually corrupting him. Like with real-life addiction, it can start with the best intentions, but through losing chunks of himself, it's just become the only way he can feel comfortable. It's a crutch now. That's interesting. Repeats the chorus. Unsure if anything more from the music video really connects beside the bishop's eyes you can see watching him. I did see, it looked like just a car with headlights behind Josh in the video. The fact his paper is red and that it all adds up to our beautiful Josh Dunn. Harder for me to connect those visuals meaningfully. The song lyrics themselves, though, set up Clancy's internal battle more than any other. He is not sure by the time he gets to the cliffhanger we get if he really wants to fight Nico or just finally give in and join him. If he should give in to the legacy of his, if there will even be enough of himself left to fight for. All right, some interesting thoughts in there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll have a good conversation there. Thanks for being with me for this one. Hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.